Well, he has indeed crossed the void, the empty space which circles time, and he is, of course, the Big Chief, Third Doctor. And for those of you that haven't listened to that 1970s song, you're probably thinking, what the hell is he going on about? Welcome back to another Doctor Who video on the Host Productions. In today's video, we've got yet another special unboxing, as I'm going to be taking a look at the Big Chief Studios 1/6 scale collector figure of none other than the Third Doctor, as portrayed by Jon Pertwee. This is, of course, available to order now, finally, from the Big Chief website, very much like their recent 13th Doctor release. This figure has been, I was going to say long awaited is an understatement. It has been on order for quite some time, and naturally with this series I love collecting Big Chief, I love collecting in particular classic series Doctors, and this is as a result a very exciting release to add to the collection, especially given how bold the Third Doctor's costume is. And if you think that this is excitement, wait until a few years time when we finally get the release of the 6th Doctor, because I'm pretty sure I am going to be jumping around this room like a complete maniac. If you are a fan of Big Chiefs, I have already done an unboxing of the 13th Doctor Signature Edition. She comes of all sorts, so yes, check that out. I am going to be doing proper product reviews as well of all of these figures at some point. I just think that given that these are a special event, I thought it would be good to kind of do an unboxing. So yes, this is the usual Big Chief shipment crate. Of course, it has the title at the front here, the logo, and it's just a corrugated cardboard box, to be honest. There's nothing really too much else to say, so snipping open the box so you can finally take a look at the figure. Of course, this has been delayed due to various things, the global pandemic, the shipping problem, general production, everything else. This is the incentive one. I do believe that I ended up buying the one with all of the incentive gifts, so this is almost the ultimate version of the Third Doctor that you can get currently. There is different ones available which feature different access. Actually, I think this is sold out now, possibly, I don't know. I might need to put a little caption to cite if this figure has sold out, because I've lost track of which ones are and aren't available anymore, because the 4th Doctor is also on the way from season 18. As well as the new series Doctors, all again in their definitive versions. We have Roger Delgado as the Master as well, which will look excellent alongside this release, of course. So here we have the bubble wrap and lots of cardboard on the inside. There we go. We will not be seeing that anymore. And then we have these little things which protect the corners. This box is the more regular design. It follows the same style guide to that of the 8th Doctor, which I have already reviewed, and I was not expecting that to be there. We have the Signature Edition, because sadly Jon Pertwee is no longer with us, but instead we get a lovely signature from the kind, wonderful, brilliant Katy Manning, Jo Grant. I've met her a number of times, and so it says Hugs, Katy Manning, which is very nice indeed. She's a delight. Yes, that is a lovely little addition. It's very unusual that we've got a new series Doctor and a classic series Doctor arriving at the same time. It's very much like that common phrase when it comes to London buses: you wait ages for one and then two show up at once. So I'm guessing that will probably be a common theme for some of the next releases as well. I think Roger Delgado and the season 18 4th Doctor are probably going to come at the same time. So mine is Unit 316. And it is the commemorative edition. There we go. There's a caution label on the bottom saying don't eat it or whatever else. So there we have the box. A lovely stylish design, of course. It's very different to the 13th Doctor one. We have the text all nicely embossed in gold, the Big Chief logo there at the bottom, a rather Scream of the Shalka vortex, again very similar to Paul McGann, Third Doctor there. On the side we get the lovely embossed logo once again, and then we have the wonderful Jon Pertwee there on the back as well, which is of course the figure on the inside of the box. We have a lovely little write-up there, and of course the same on the opposite side. Doctor Who at the top, company deets at the bottom, and then of course you have the shoebox kind of design, which I'm slowly getting used to. I wasn't a fan of it on the initial Paul McGann, because I do really like the original boxes. On the inside we've got nothing. That was a good prediction. They're weaker cardboard compared to their initial releases of like the likes of Hartnell and the original David Tennant. It's a bit thinner, so as a result is more vulnerable to a few dents here and there. Some of the clothing components, 30 points of articulation and all the accessories. And then we have the inner piece, which features the promotional images of the figure, which can be found on the Big Chief website. A lovely blend of vortexes throughout the eras. And then of course this does slide off gradually to reveal a TARDIS backdrop on the inside. This is, oh, A little bit blurry, I must admit. I was expecting something a bit higher quality than that. That is, of course, the third Doctor's TARDIS, as you've all seen many times before. I don't know if that's going to pick up on camera, although that does literally look like a telesnap from an actual 1970s serial. So I suppose one of the benefits is kind of that unusual milky colour is kind of there, which is present for quite a lot of 70s episodes. Although, yes, it is quite pixelated. And here we have Pertwee, and I've just glanced at him, and instantly I've got a beam on my face because, wow, okay. The third Doctor, in all of his glory, his shirt looks excellent. Here we have the main tray, of course, as per usual. Main tray features a figure himself, which I'm guessing you really won't be able to see in the light. Lots of hands, so many accessories, very exciting, and that costume, which looks incredible. I'm very happy with that. I've not even got it out of the box yet, so we'll put you safely down there. And next up, we've got the Certificate of Authenticity, who is stuck on something else, so we'll grab you. We've got the smaller tray, so we'll say goodbye to the rest of the box. The bottom box basically features the usual stuff. So we have the display base, which I'm going to not make the same mistake that I did with the Jodie Whittaker unboxing and saved it until last, and then the figure kept falling over throughout. So yes, we've got the base. This is the more regular design that you come to expect really with the Big Chiefs. So you have a reflective design, you may be able to see the camera, hello camera, and then you have the logo as well, the Gallifreyan symbol for 3, which lights up as so. Yay, that's nice. Tripod, these bases do stress me out sometimes, I must admit. There we go. There is the base, all ready for Pertwee, who we'll be taking a look at in a second. But before we get on to the big and expensive, exciting figure, how about let's take a look at some maggots. We have maggots, guys. Big, giant maggots. Quite hefty, actually. Quite a hefty maggot. There we go, that's an out-of-context quote for you. There's a maggot. Isn't he nice? He's from the Green Death. He's very excited to be here, quite clearly. And then we have another one, another maggot, because why have one maggot when you could have 2? These are the incentives, so you basically, I think, bought the figure at its full RRP or something like that with a bit of discount and got these. So yeah, that's nice. I think you can get one where you only get one. If you only have Pertwee and you don't have his maggots, and you really want his maggots, sometimes Big Chief do put some up on the website singularly in a few years' time. So yes, keep an eye out. Keep your eye out for the maggots, because who knows, they may come crawling back. So next up, we've got the big tray, which is of course the main event. It is Pertwee himself, with a bag on his head. He's looking very Dracula-esque with his bag on his head and his cape floating around. But yeah, we've got lots of things to go through with this figure actually, a bit more than Jodie. So we're going to stand him up. He's looking glorious, and then let him out of his suffering. Holy moly. I'm trying my best to keep this review PG, although I am, I want to say things that have lots of exclamation behind them. That red lining is pretty lovely. Wow. Yeah, we've got the lining of the cape. We've got that excellent likeness to Jon Pertwee. So many beautiful details on the head. I really do think it deserves a little bit of a zoom in, even though this is only an unboxing, just to give you a teaser as to what to expect within the review. Of course, this head looks like Jon Pertwee. I think from certain angles it does look a little bit unusual, but looking straight down that viewfinder, it is undeniably the third Doctor. Lots of lovely details. I think that Big Chief have always done a good job with older people, older males in particular. Of course, you have lots of creases and wrinkles around the face, and again the hair has that lovely layered effect. I think it looks beautiful. And then we also have, of course, the head actually being connected to the neck, which sounds ridiculous, but on some previous Big Chiefs we've had that neck join right underneath the chin, which looks a little bit unusual and off-putting. In fact, a bit like the Jodie figure overall, but of course this is one solid piece, which I really do like. I was initially a little bit sceptical of, I thought it was decent at certain angles. I thought, there's something a bit off, and I don't know what. But no, now I've got it in hand, I'm like, yeah, you're nice. You're very nice indeed. Wow. I'm actually speechless, which is a rarity with these figures. So you have his little cape there. We've got these little tassels on the side as well. I've got his hands. He's came packaged with the gloved hands on. Or his arms, I do believe, are the wrong way around. as you do. Oh, there we go. He's got his hands. These have got the gloved sculpt on, which is an interesting choice for the first to be displayed in, but cool nevertheless. See, his cape looks excellent. Can we like raise his arms a bit so you can get a good look at that? There we go. And there's his, of course, his tassels from his cravat. Looking very neat. That looks pre-tied and like fixed in place, which I'm very happy with. I think they've gone with a similar design for 6C, so I'm very happy because we've had the first Doctors in the past, which looked a bit messy. But yeah, flipping around to the back there, got his big wings. I say flipping around to the back, I just want to be able to take a good look at the figure myself. Yeah, wonderful, really, really happy with that. There's so many small details. I love the texturing on the jacket. I have heard that on the back, when you remove the cape, it does get a little bit bulky and messy. Although, as it currently stands, I think the cape is a very good extract from that, so that's good. And we've also got this lovely texturing there on the back of the cloak as well. It's like a corduroy. Very lovely. Very happy with that. And the head is superb. Nice and flexible. Of course, he does great hair detailing, all the different curls and wisps, excellent, really happy. And he's got his shoes there at the bottom as well. So yeah, let's take a look at the accessories too. Okay, so accessory wise, we've got lots of stuff going on. We've got lots of hands. Jesus, these hands are massive. He's got little rings on them, as Pertwee does have, so we've got open palm there. We've got a rather Peter Capaldi-esque, well, I suppose Peter Capaldi took that off Pertwee since he came first. We've got a very similar sculpt to the Capaldi hand. Lots of hands, lots of lovely detailing on them. I did mention within the Jodie review that her hands were nice and bendy to hold the accessories. Pertwee's do seem to be a bit more stiff, so be careful with them when putting in accessories. At least it means that they'll be able to hold them a lot more firmly. So we have a sonic holding hand there as well. So overall, including the two that he's got, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different hands. Plethora of many different accessories. So if I move this out of the way, because it's a rather ugly looking tray, you don't want to see that. First off, we've got the blaster gun. I do believe this is from Day of the Daleks. A rather light plastic piece actually. It's quite, I think, might be hollow. That does sound hollow. It's got lovely detailing on. Very nice. Little gold section there at the top, these little rockets. Do you want to hold the gun? You can hold the gun. The gun. It's not particularly in his hand too well. I don't think it's the right hand for it, to be honest. But there you go. He's got the gun. How nice. Next up, we've got his magnifying glass, which I'm guessing he probably has used within the unit lab at some point. This is a very familiar accessory because I've got it already. This is in fact the Paul McGann sculpt, I do believe. I'm pretty sure. It's either that or it's very similar. It has received a number of paint changes. Brown handle. I do believe it was gold on Paul McGann. It does actually kind of works, yes, that's cool. Sea Devil's gun. No Sea Devil to go with him though. I suppose you could make your own. Of course we have the shooty laser bit there in the middle, and then as we turn around to the back we also have that handle section, very easy for the third Doctor to hold. A big piece. I'm used to the character option zones and of course they're much smaller, so that's quite a cool little thing. Next up we've got a few more regular accessories that you come to expect with Doctors, such as the sonic screwdriver. There's lots of lovely sharp details on the sonic. I think the paint application is absolutely on point, in particular this yellow section and the various black bars surrounding it. We will in fact move them round because that hand is clearly not sculpted for the gun. So we'll put the sonic in instead. His trusty sonic, it can blow up some minefields on a beach and stress out some sea devils in his time. There you go. Isn't he cool? What I like, and one of the instant things, is I've not really ruffled about with this figure that much, which normally you do need to sort of tweak the clothing a bit to make them look right when you first get them, because they've been stuffed in the box for a while. But one of the first good signs with this figure is that I've not done any of that, and it's already looking really, really good. Next up, we've got a Metebelis 3 crystal, not Metabolis, as what's it, Series 7, Matt Smith called it. Even though this costume isn't from the Planet of Spiders, this is still a great inclusion, and kind of a key part of the later Third Doctor stories. You can sit on there. Next up, we have a watch, which he will wear eventually. Numerous different clock faces in that, with little glossed section on top, with a few holes in fact even within it, very much like how a watch strap can have, so that's nice. That will be going on his arm a little bit later on. Then we have the Tardis Key. Does in fact look very, very similar to the 8th Doctor. I don't know if it is the same, but it is that triangular design with various sections, and of course that lovely chain as well, perfect for displaying with the Doctor. And finally, we have a other accessory, which I believe is a remote for Bessie. Where does it say on the box? Remote control for Bessie. That was a good guess, wasn't it? It's like a little... well, yeah, remote. It looks like a remote. It's got a little dial, a few little buttons on, very sharply painted and sculpted. Very cool indeed. Not particularly an accessory that would instantly jump to mind as, yes, let's do that. However, I like that. I like that with these figures. I like that we get little obscure things, the likes of this, because it kind of sets them apart from others. And the same can be said for this gun too. We've got lots of things going on. And of course the Katy Manning signature too, which is very nice. But yeah, and what I'm liking about this figure so far is that we do clearly have lots of layers within the costume. I'm loving the frills on the shirt underneath. That's really textured and pops. Of course we've got that little clasp in the middle of the jacket as well, which is very delicate, although I imagine will fasten. Then of course you have lots of smaller details on the cloak itself. I'm really tempted to take this off to give a closer look at the rest of it. However, I think I'll save that for the review. But of course you have little slats going up the back as well to reveal the red lining. It's all very lovely, very polished and very, just overall very impressive. I'm very happy with this, and I think the figure overall does have that nice stiff articulation, so this will be very nice to pose. I imagine it'll be able to hold a pose quite well. And of course the Maggots are cool too. Compared to the character options ones, there's not really much green on these. Normally they have that green gunk, don't they, in the Green Death, as it's rather aptly named. And these are quite, there's a bit of a wash applied if I put it in the light, but not too much. Of course they did use ferret skulls for this end piece, so that's a nice sculpt. But yeah, there's not, I would have liked to see maybe a bit more of a wash applied to the top of that, just to make them stand out a bit more, but they're quite nice pieces, look excellent on display next to him, very much like how the Pating comes with 13, which I suppose we may as well bring her in actually. There we go. 13 meets 3. It's the multi-Doctor special we weren't expecting to see any time today. So I do like the size difference as well. Geordie's quite small compared to Pertwee, and that is rather nicely represented here. So yeah, they look brilliant together. They'll look excellent alongside the other Doctors, I imagine, Pertwee in particular with his flares. I think they're both very good figures in their own right, and for different reasons actually. So yeah, there are a rather good balance to come out together. And finally, before I forget, we do also have the little pouch which just contains the base details for the batteries. To think of it, I don't think we actually get socket spares either, which for the hands, which is a reoccurring thing for basically all Big Chiefs, and yet Geordie and him don't seem to have them, which is not concerning, because I've not really ever had one snap, but yeah, it would have been maybe nice to have them in there just as a security. So yeah, little boring plastic instruction booklet, and then we have the certificate of authenticity, which unusually mine's been bent the wrong way, so let's bend that back right and rectify that. So there we go. We've got basically a replica of the front of the box there, and then we have a little bit of detailing on the inside. And what I'm really loving with these latest ones, and something that I can't quite recall Paul having, is that we do have the number of this release written on. So it's 316 out of 500, and I'm very, very happy to own him. I think, yeah, that needs a bit more tweaking, but there we go. That is Pertwee. Very happy, very, very, very happy. I think that this might be one of my favourites. Certainly from first reaction, this is definitely one of the ones that has took my breath away the most. The only reaction that I've kind of had that would be similar to this would be Hartnell. And Hartnell has a special place in my heart because naturally he was my very first Big Chief, and that started the obsession from there. But yes, he looks brilliant. I'm really happy with him. Very much like how I mentioned earlier on within the video, I will be doing a proper review of this in the usual format, as was the 13th Doctor, at some point in the future to take a closer look at the accessories and the various costume elements and stuff. I just simply wanted to record my reaction because it's not every day that you have two Big Chiefs arriving at the same time. And yeah, it's nice to kind of have your initial reaction, because over time you kind of get used to the details and perhaps your appreciation kind of goes down a little bit, so it's nice to be able to recall that first exciting moment. But yes, overall, if you like Pertwee, if you have the opportunity to get this, then yes, I'd recommend it if you have the money, because he's very impressive indeed. So yes, stay tuned on the Host Productions for a full review of the Third Doctor, as well as the 13th Doctor at some point in the future, as well as regular Doctor Who content on the Host Productions, from product reviews, Big Finish, and everything else. And of course, on that note, I shall see you all next time. Have a nice day, and bye for now.